The United States' quest for guided ordnance had actually begun as far back as the Great War, and experiments into glide bombs had started just before the US joined the Second World War. In February 1941, the USAAF Material Division began preliminary experiments into a guided bomb program called the MX-108 project. The concept was fairly simple. Take a standard bomb, fit wings to it so that it would glide, and figure out a method to keep the bomb on target all the way down. The Ohio-based company Aeronica Aircraft began developing guided glide bomb kits in the spring of 1941, developing the prototype GB-1. In addition to Aeronica's efforts, two other prototypes, the GB-2 and GB-3, were built by Belanca and Tim Aircraft respectively. After extensive testing, the GB-1 beat out the competition because, at the insistence of General Hap Arnold, it had a simpler and more effective control system and was generally more suited to bomber use. Although more sophisticated systems weren't to be dismissed entirely, the aim was to get a working device into the field as quickly as possible. The GB-1 seemed the best candidate to do just that. Aeronica's glide bomb kit featured a one-piece 12-foot wing and a twin-boom, twin-tail assembly, both of which were mated to a 2000 M34 general-purpose bomb. It also had a fairly rudimentary gyroscopic autopilot designed to keep it flying towards the intended target. The GB-1s would be dropped from the Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress, which when flying at 15,000 feet could drop the bomb approximately 20 miles from their targets. This allowed the B-17s to stay well out of range of anti-aircraft guns, which was the motivation behind employing gliding bombs to begin with. However, there was a big trade-off. Due to the GB-1 kit's wingspan, they could not be carried in the B-17 bomb bay. Instead, two GB-1s would be carried, one suspended from a rack below each wing. Although this did represent a fairly common bomb load for a long-range mission, the external glide bombs caused drag. This reduced the maximum speed of a Fortress from around 310 miles per hour to 280, and reduced its range by some 150 miles. The GB-1 itself had a top speed of about 230 miles per hour, and guidance came from a gyro-stabilized navigation system into which the bomb's flight path was manually entered. Successful experimental drops were being made which suggested a GB-1 drop from 30,000 feet was sufficiently accurate to hit a medium-sized city, and when dropped from 5,000 feet was able to hit a target about a mile in size. Stateside, confidence was high that this could be a significant weapon in the fight against the Axis. In October 1942, the production objective was set at 1,000 GB-1s per month. This then rose to 2,000 by March 1943. In November that year, Aeronica was awarded a contract to manufacture 4,300 GB-1 kits. This initial contract was followed up in March 1943 with an order for 4,000 more kits. On the aircraft side, Boeing was instructed to incorporate an external bomb rack on future B-17 models. They were also asked to develop a kit to modify older aircraft to carry the GB-1. Then someone thought they'd better consult their men in the field and check if they needed more of these wonderful bomb kits. In March 1943, the AAF Material Command contacted the 8th Air Force with the inquiry. They were given a reply on the 13th of May basically saying, "We're all set." As good as the GB-1 was, in the eyes of the men conducting the bombing campaign against Germany, the combination of Norden bombsight and regular bombs was as good, if not more accurate than the GB-1. They just didn't want to bother with it at all. With this resistance from the front, Aeronica lost their additional contract and the production of GB-1s was capped at 4,300 kits. Under pressure from General Arnold, in a memo on September 11, 1943, he insisted the glide bomb be used in an operational mission. The task, dubbed Project Grapefruit, was palmed off to the 41st Combat Bomb Wing, 1st Bombardment Division. After several delays and postponements, a mission was launched with 60 B-17s on May 28, 1944. The target was the Eiffeltor Railroad Marshalling Yard in Cologne. Of the 81 glide bombs that were successfully launched 20 miles from the target, 28 were immediately lost. These were most likely lost to prop wash, which caused them to enter a flat spin and drop vertically. Of the other bombs, 44 hit Cologne, 17 fell south of the city, 4 were released too late, and a single bomb hit 17 miles from the target. The Eiffeltor Railway Marshalling Yard didn't receive a single direct hit that day. In the end, the attack on the rail yard in Cologne was a resounding flop, and it was painfully apparent that the GB-1s were far less accurate and effective than traditional bombs. It was enough for the 8th Air Force to drop the idea entirely. Still, Aeronica continued working on the project and produced a number of additional prototypes, including the GB-4 and GB-8, that incorporated advanced cameras, heat sensors and radar to hone in on its targets, though none made it out of the testing phase. The Navy also developed its own series of glide bombs during the war, but that's a story for another video. So if you've enjoyed this video about GB-1 bomb kits, please give it a like to help it spread to more people, and let me know in the comments, had you heard of this before? And as you obviously love those weird and wonderful weapons from World War II, why not check out my video on screen now? It's a good one.